Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this on your Facebook page. Okay, we are continuing on with our summer seed starting series where we take the opportunity to start perennials and annuals for fall planting. This is a huge budget saver, gives me things to do during the heat of the summer when I don't want to be out in the garden. And it gives me opportunity to grow a lot of plants that I don't typically have access to. So today is the third in our summer seed starting series. We already started a series of shade perennials. We did another set of sun-loving perennials, and we're doing a third set, which is also sun-loving perennials, specifically Powwow Wildberry Echinacea, Prairie Splendor Deep Rose Echinacea, and Bergamo Bee Balm. Okay, so why am I starting all these seeds in June? Seems weird, right? So these perennials are slow to mature, and by starting them now, I'll have healthy seedlings to plant out come early fall. That's really my goal with these perennial seeds. Get them started now, get a good, healthy, beautiful seedling, plant it out in the fall, allow it to grow on during fall and build a better, stronger root structure. It will go dormant during the winter, so the top will die off, but the roots down low will stay alive. And then come spring, we'll get a better, healthier, bigger plant. Now, also, fall planted perennials establish roots over the winter and will bloom earlier and more prolifically the next year. They tend to be a little bit larger because basically if you trick them into that they've already had 1 year of life by initiating that winter coldness. You're telling it, hey, you're done with year 1. Let's go to year 2 in the fall, which is fun. And this is a massive, huge budget saving versus nursery prices. Typically in my area, perennial plants are anywhere from like $12 to $15 for, I guess, the 1 gallon size. And with these plants, like I didn't even spend $10 on all of these packages of seeds. So I literally am going to be growing plants for pennies per seed, pennies per plant, which is a huge savings for me and allows me to have a bigger, more prolific garden because I do so much seed starting. If I were to buy everything full grown or at nursery prices, there's no way I would have as big of a garden as I currently do. Okay, so we're going to start with the Powwow Wildberry Echinacea, and I love the Powwow series. I have this plant already in my garden. I want to grow more of it. I have also grown the Powwow White, which I love as well. The Powwow Wildberry Echinacea is a stunning deep magenta blooms with large cone centers, compact habit with prolific flowering. It's hardy zones 3 through 9 and grows about 18 to 24 inches tall, and it puts on a ton of flowers. It blooms summer to fall, and it matures in about 150 to 180 days to maturity. So it's a very, very slow grower, which is really important why we start it now. Okay, so we're going to be growing with my Amazon seed trays, and those include a water reservoir, a 12-cell seed starting tray, and a humidity dome with an adjustable dial, just like that. These work great for me. They're inexpensive. They've lasted multiple years. If you're interested, I have my Amazon link in the video description below. You can also use whatever works best for you. I'm going to come over here. I've got my Berger BM7, which is my favorite seed starting soil. I'm going to put some of it up here, and I'm starting with the dry soil method. So I'm starting with the dry soil, come in, add my soil to the tray, use a couple of fingers to compact the soil a little bit, not too much. Don't want to overdo it because we still want the soil to be soft and manageable for the new seed roots to work their way down. So just like that, nice and simple. All right, and let me bring y'all in closer so you can see what those seeds look like. All right, all of my seeds are from Swallowtail Garden Seeds. They are my favorite place to order online. I am not sponsored by them. I don't get anything free or discounted. I pay just as much as you guys do, and I love it. In this package is 10 seeds, and these are going to be barely covered. So we're going to go ahead and put them on the surface to start off with. And it had 1 extra seed, so it actually had 11, which is fun. And then I'm going to gently press just to make sure that they have good contact with the soil. And then we're just going to lightly cover a little bit, nothing big. Remove any large pieces of bark that might hinder them. Super simple like that. All right, next I'm going to fill the water reservoir at least 50% of the way with fresh water. And then go ahead and put my seed cells down in it and allow that to soak in. All right, and then on my tag, I put the name of the variety, as well as today's date and the number of days to germination, because these do take longer and I don't want to get discouraged. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my humidity dome on, making sure that my dial is closed. So fast. Once you get it set up, it's so fast. You can just get through these so quickly, which is wonderful. So these are surface sow with a light dusting over the top. Light does aid germination in this case, so we will be putting it directly under the grow lights over here. The grow lights are on 14 hours a day minimum. And these need about 65 to 70 degrees to germinate, which is the ambient temperature of my home, which is typically 68 to 72. So that works out good. And I do not need a heat mat. These need really good airflow because they can have some issues with mildew, and we'll talk about that in a second. And they're about 130 to 150 days to maturity, it takes quite a while. I will say I think the powwow flowers bloom a little bit earlier than most varieties. So we'll go ahead and slide it under there. Just like that. Okay, the next variety of Echinacea is going to be Prairie Splendor Deep Rose. And this is a rich, deep rose pink flowers with dark centers, early blooming and compact with long stems, perfect for cutting. And I love cutting Echinacea and coneflowers for designs. I actually really love harvesting them, pulling their petals off and using just the center, which is beautiful too. This is hardy in zones 3 through 9. It grows 24 to 30 inches tall and blooms summer through fall. And this one tends to also bloom a little bit earlier than most Echinaceas. So really excited about this one, especially the coloring of this particular one. It's supposed to be pretty hardy in my area. So we're going to start again with another seed tray. And Echinacea coneflower is definitely in a plant that I've grown to love over the years. It's just hardy. It gives me blooms at the time of the year where there's just not a lot going on because it's just so stinking hot outside. So now this packet actually comes with 30 seeds, but we're not going to plant 30, but let me bring you in. So little seeds, definitely bigger than the stuff that I'm used to that's typically dust. I'm just going to put one in each cell, and we'll have more to start in the future if I would like. And I'm going to gently press these into the soil, make sure that they have good contact. And then we're going to lightly cover. And then I'm going to remove any larger pieces of bark just so they don't interfere with growth. I'm going to fill my water reservoir at least 50% of the way. Add my seed cells. All right, and then I've got my label with today's date and the number of days to germinate. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a humidity dome on top, making sure that the dial is closed. Okay. So basically all the same stuff as the powwow wildberry. For the Prairie Splendor Deep Rose Echinacea, it is surface sows, which is a light dusting of soil over the top. It needs light for germination, so it will go under here and get the light 14 hours a day. 65 to 70 degrees for germination, which is typically what my house is at. 10 to 20 days to germinate, so not as long as a lot of other perennials, actually pretty quick compared to other perennials. And once again, it will need good airflow. Its maturity is about 130 to 150 days. So we'll slide that in. And then let's do one more. and then we'll talk about aftercare and transplanting. Okay, so the next one that we're going to do today is Bergamo Bee Balm. And Bee Balm is something I want to buy every year when I see it blooming. But I've planted it and it hasn't come back repeatedly. But in all fairness, I've only planted it a couple of times. So I thought I'd try to get a variety that's a little bit more hardy. So this Bergamo Bee Balm is supposed to be really good. Soft lavender pink flowers with tubular petals, perfect for pollinators. Compact and mildew resistant. It is hardy zones 4 through 9, about 20 to 28 inches tall. It blooms summer. It matures in about 120 to 150 days to maturity and needs a good root system before facing garden conditions, which is one of the reasons that I would really like to be able to plant it in the fall and allow it to grow on before the winter. I'm hoping that that might be the key to getting Monarda or Bee Balm to stay longer in my garden. So once again, we're going to shift right back over to the soil. Now the soil I'm using is Bergamo Bee BM7. It's my favorite soil for potting and seed starting. You can use whatever works best for you. Just make sure that it has kind of a fine grit to it. If it has a lot of bark, it doesn't typically work as well for seed starting. You can always pick out the bark or run it through like a sieve or a colander to remove some of the bigger pieces if you need to. So just put it in and then lightly compacted it. Okay, let me bring y'all in closer so you can see these seeds. I think I already said that all these seeds were purchased at Swallowtail Garden Seeds. This particular package has 25 seeds in it and it looks super, super tiny. My guess is we're going to use all 25 seeds, even though I have 12 cells, because they're so tiny that it would be hard for me to separate them out. That happens a lot for me. And I know you can take the time to like use a toothpick, and I just don't have the patience to do that, the toothpick method. So I just use my giant hands. And yeah, I'm going to spread these out a little bit, and we'll put a couple in each seed cell. All right, so we did use all of those. I'm going to very gently come and press them down, making sure to clean my finger off after each cell so that I'm not moving one seed to another cell. So these are surface sow. We're not going to cover them at all. We just put them on the surface just like that. And we're going to fill up our seed reservoir 50% of the way. Go ahead and drop in our seed tray. All right, and then add my tag with the name, today's date, and the number of days to germinate. We're going to make sure we put a humidity dome on top, making sure that the dial is closed. Okay, so the Bergamo Bee Balm was surface sow. We did not cover it all, so it needs light to germinate. So it will go under the lights for minimum 14 hours a day. It needs 65 to 70 degrees to germinate, which is the ambient temperature of my house, and it's only 10 to 14 days to germinate, which is actually pretty quick for a perennial, and we want to avoid over watering. So let me go ahead and make a little bit of a shift over here, and we'll go ahead and put this variety in. Now, a few things. We are going to leave the humidity domes on until at least 50% of the seeds have germinated within the container. Once about 50% have germinated, we're going to remove the humidity dome at that point in time because we don't want a bunch of extra moisture causing damping off, which is fungal disease that will kill your seedlings very, very quickly. These will remain under the lights 14 hours a day, even with the humidity dome off. They'll always have 14 hours a day as long as they are growing inside here. Always 14 hours of light per day. You don't want to reduce that at all, especially at this time of the year, the summer. Okay, a little bit about aftercare and fall transplanting. So you want to pot these seedlings up into larger containers after 2 to 3 sets of true leaves appear. The very first set of leaves you see come up when it sprouts, those are seed leaves. After that, everything after that are true leaves. So you want 2 to 3 sets of true leaves, and then you'll pot them up into a larger container to grow on. You want to harden off for 7 to 10 days in partial shade before transplanting in early fall. Early fall for me is going to be probably the beginning of October. We have a very hot September. So I'll probably start hardening a lot of these off mid to late September. You want to select full sun locations for all three of these. These are all sun-loving perennials, and you want well-draining soil. If you have clay like me, go ahead and mix in some compost and shale if possible to loosen up that clay soil. You want to mulch after planting to protect roots and retain moisture. And fall planted perennials establish roots over winter and reward you with strong growth and early blooms next season, which is very, very exciting. A few things about budget savings I do want to point out. Nursery plants, about $10 to $15 each for a perennial starting from seed, $10 total for all of these varieties. It's literally, I didn't plant all of the seeds, but if I had planted all of the seeds, it would have been like 50, 60 plants, which is pretty stinking good for about $10, which is great. But very, very excited. If you missed my other videos, we've already started for the shade, Coral Bells, Columbine, and Stilby. For the sun, we've already started Geum, Shasta Daisy, and Coreopsis, as well as those two varieties of Echinacea and Bee Balm that we started today. All right, I hope you all are growing along with me. Now is the time to start. Even if you're just now getting into your growing season, right? Your fall will probably show up earlier than my fall. So you do want to go ahead and start seeds now for perennials that you can plant out in fall. I am going to also be starting some annuals for fall containers and fall garden color and texture, and that will be coming in the next few days. All right, you all, as always, make sure you like and comment on the video. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow the video so much. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just drop me an emoji below, letting me know that you made it to the end of the video and you say hi. My hand felt really weird. And be sure to check me out in my Patreon community. It is all things She's a Mad Gardener and all things gardening. It's a great group of people. We're getting big. It feels really, really nice and exciting. Be sure to check that out. It is in the link description below. There is a free tier to join in under, and there are additional paid tiers. The higher up you are in the tiers, the more access you get, including exclusive videos only available to the Bloom Buddy tier. That's my top tier, as well as group chats and photo sharing. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.